Right now at 5, the vice presidential candidates in Wisconsin. They're closing messages to voters in La Crosse.
Plus, voters heading to the polls in just hours. What you need to know before you go.
We're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 5.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for News 8 Now at 5. I'm Ken Kozorowski.
And I'm Emily Brown. Well, this is it. Closing time. Candidates are making their final pitch to voters.
That's right. In Battleground, Wisconsin, both vice presidential hopefuls making stops in La Crosse. And our coverage tonight starts with News 8 Now's Allison Fergitz and her exclusive with Governor Tim Walz. Good evening, Allison.
Ken and Emily, Walz had a strong message for supporters today. Get out and vote. I had the opportunity to speak to Walz one-on-one. We talked about the state of the race and the issues impacting Wisconsinites.
The decisions that are made over the next 24, 36 hours when those polls close will shape not just the next 4 years, they will shape the coming generations.
In our exclusive interview with the governor, he said this election is an opportunity to turn the page on an era of political division.
Donald Trump will continue to give tax cuts to the wealthy and continue to try and paint a very divided picture. Kamala Harris stood on the National Mall and was a president for all.
Walz says he's feeling good in the final hours of the campaign. He's hearing from voters that they're tired of the chaos in politics.
They want a president that brings us together. They don't expect us to agree on everything, but they do expect us to do this with dignity. They don't want to hear the nonsense.
I was able to ask Walz about issues that matter to Western Wisconsinites, like access to affordable child care. Walz wants to provide a $6,000 child tax credit to the parents of newborns, and he supports other policies that would help child care providers.
Both reducing the cost, increasing the number of folks who are doing it by making sure they're paid a fair wage, and putting money with tax cuts back into the middle class.
Wisconsin allows voters to register on Election Day, and Walz wants those who are unregistered to take advantage of it.
Your vote is your agency, your vote is your power. Don't let them take that from you. This matters.
Walz's final message to undecided voters: a Harris administration will be about progress for all.
We can either go forward or we can go back, and I said as we're in our campaign is we're not going back.
The governor and I also talked about issues like reproductive rights and the Farm Bill. My full interview with Walz is available on our website, news8000.com. Ken and Emily.
Okay, Allison live in the studio. Thank you. Senator J.D. Vance rallied with supporters at the La Crosse Center. His speech focusing on the economy and immigration. News 8
Now's Grace Monk has those details.
Ken and Emily, Vance had a full crowd this morning for his last stop in the battleground state. He started off his speech this morning by encouraging supporters to go out and vote tomorrow.
Tomorrow and get 9 of your friends and family to come along with you. That's how you vote 10 times, and that's what we got to do.
Vance focused his speech on inflation and immigration. He accused Kamala Harris of opening the border and letting in thousands of illegal immigrants. He also criticized the economy under the Biden-Harris administration. Vance says Wisconsinites were better off when Trump was in office.
When Donald Trump was president, you could afford to pay your bills. What we know is that when Donald Trump was president, we had a president who fought for border security for American citizens. What we know is that when Donald Trump was president, wages were rising as fast as they had in a generation in the United States of America.
He was joined by Wisconsin GOP members Brian Schimming, Representative Tom Tiffany, and Representative Derek Van Orden. Vance made stops in several other swing states today, including Michigan, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. Reporting in La Crosse, Grace Monk, News 8 Now.
It's been quite the final sprint. Grace, thank you. So, with the stage being set, are polling places here ready to handle tomorrow's expected rush of voters?
News 8 Now's Jeremy Wall has this answer.
In just hours, folks will be coming here to City Hall to cast their ballot. The clock is ticking as Election Day is almost here. 36,000 absentee votes have been cast in La Crosse County, but they're still ready for high turnout. 6 months of preparation has all come down to this.
We've done training with all the poll workers, and as clerks are doing their final touches, getting the polling places set up, getting the poll books printed. It's just anxiety and anxious of just getting Election Day here and going and getting the voters through.
They're ready in case things get out of control.
Polling places have their own contingency plans and backups in place in case security is needed.
So the polls open at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Dankmeyer anticipates all votes in Wisconsin to be counted by about Wednesday morning.
Well, the wet weekend that we expected did happen, and it continued Sunday, but we've had somewhat of a dry Monday to kind of damp, mild, even muggy out there with temperatures pretty warm for this time of year. But for this evening, we're just expecting maybe a few sprinkles. Won't expect a lot of rainfall, mostly cloudy conditions, mainly dry, too, getting down to 51 degrees. La Crosse, very similar, a little bit of light rain or mist here and there, but overall mainly cloudy with temperatures still mid-50s, so quite warm. And like I said, once again, kind of muggy out there with the conditions they are. Overall, radar just indicates some very light precipitation. Ladysmith's had it, Eau Claire had some mist, even though La Crosse, Earler's had a little bit of light rain or mist at times. But all in all, it's still mainly dry. Really, the next system, the next wave, this front stalling to our northwest, and that low down in Kansas, that's the next wave that's going to be coming northeast towards our area later tonight and tomorrow, providing another opportunity for rain as we go throughout really later tonight and tomorrow. So overnight, mainly dry, really until midnight, and I think activity starts to pick up towards the morning commute. Temperatures not lowering that much, really upper 40s to low 50s, pretty steady overnight. And then tomorrow, we do have some wet conditions. Obviously, voting is a big thing going on right now, but we'll kind of break down the timing of that rain, and we might actually get some drier conditions back in the forecast a little bit later in the broadcast.
All right. Thank you, Greg. A suspected Venezuelan gang member arrested in Prairie du Chien was arraigned today. Not guilty pleas were entered on Alejandro Zarate's behalf. He was arrested in September. Police say he physically and sexually attacked a woman on several occasions, and the woman's daughter was also hurt during one of those alleged incidents. Zarate is facing 6 charges, including second-degree sexual assault and child abuse.
5 students of the Alma Center Lincoln boys basketball team face felony charges following alleged hazing incidents in January. The 5 upperclassmen allegedly assaulted 2 victims, holding them down, making sexual gestures, and attempting to remove clothing items on the bus after an away game. A victim told police the students made plans to do the same thing to the rest of the freshmen on the team. Each of the 5 students were charged with false imprisonment, among other charges.
A Sparta man facing 6 felonies in an OWI death appeared in court today. 25-year-old Isaac Morales Jr. is accused in a crash on I-90 near Toma that killed a construction worker after he lost control of his vehicle in a construction zone. That's according to the criminal complaint. Police found alcohol and marijuana at the crash site. Charges include first-degree reckless homicide and homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle. He is held on a $250,000 cash bond. An initial appearance is set for December 16th.
Well, the Boeing union votes again.
After the break, will the 2-month strike end? And a reminder, tomorrow night we will bring you election results, some expert analysis, and a breakdown of the key issues. We'll be having live updates throughout the night.
Park Bank is working in your best interest, and we have something interesting for you.
There's a lot of interest in our money market accounts at 2.42% APY.
Interested? Contact us at Park Bank, member FDIC.
Who does Derek Van Orden think he is? This guy who reportedly shouted at kids in the U.S. Capitol? I don't give a who you are. I'm a congressman.
Derek Van Orden doesn't care about making our lives better. He'd make Wisconsinites pay just to give huge tax cuts to corporations and the wealthy. Van Orden even sides with extremists who tried to cut Social Security. Wisconsin deserves better, and Derek Van Orden does not belong in Congress.
HMP is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Think you know Steve Doyle? Think again. Doyle refused to protect our daughters, forcing them to share bathrooms and locker rooms with biological boys, and voted to force girls to compete against boys in sports. Doyle believes dangerous puberty-blocking drugs should be given to minors, and gender reassignment surgeries performed on children. Keep kids safe? Steve Doyle says no. Ryan Hipsch, focused on what matters, helping families with rising costs and protecting our children. It's just common sense. Ryan Hipsch for Assembly.
I believe in bringing people together, like my family and neighbors did when I was growing up on the north side of La Crosse. And now that I'm in the state legislature, it's why I focus on bipartisanship, because my whole being is focused on bringing people together to find solutions to make everyone a winner. I've appreciated the opportunity to be your state representative, and if I'm reelected, that's what I'm going to continue to do. My entire focus will be on bringing people together to make Wisconsin a better state.
There's been a lot of interest in interest these days.
Savers, it's your turn. Let us pique your interest at Park Bank with 4.89 APY on one-year CDs.
Interested? Contact us at Park Bank. Member FDIC.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
Boeing factory workers are voting on whether to finally accept a contract offer and end their weeks-long strike. The troubled company's latest offer includes a 38% raise over 4 years and an increase in company contributions to 401k plans, but it does not restore pensions. More than 30,000 union members walked off the job more than 2 months ago, demanding a return to traditional pension plans. Union leaders are urging them to accept the deal.
I didn't come into this with a pension, and I understand my brothers and sisters in the union want, what's right. And it's not that we don't deserve it, but it's just Boeing doesn't want to push forward right now. Well, let's fight for it later.
The strike is reportedly costing the company $50 million a day.
A possible listeria contamination. What to know about the Saventia soft cheese recall after the break.
We've had quite a bit of rain over the last couple days. I'll actually break down when we might see just dry conditions and when we might see actually more rain in the forecast too. That all coming up on your First Warn Weather Update after the break.
I'm Rebecca Cook, and like most folks in Wisconsin, I'm somewhere in the middle.
Oh, please. Don't be fooled by Rebecca Cook. She made her living trying to elect Democrat extremists. Cook proudly supported radicals who want to defund police, end cash bail, and throw open the border. No wonder extremists like AOC are spending big bucks to elect liberals like Cook. Rebecca Cook, just another liberal trying to fool you. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She supported his disastrous economic agenda, higher taxes on the middle class. Kamala backed his open border policies, and their weakness invited wars. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower, and the border secure. But Kamala wants to double down on failure. Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Politics these days stinks. Too much hot air, and you know what else. But I'm no stranger to putting in a hard day's work and getting the job done. I have a history of bipartisan accomplishments. It's a hard job, but I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I can reach across the aisle and pass good bills just as easily as I can walk across the barnyard with my shovel. So whether it's doing chores on the farm or passing bills in Madison, I'm Steve Doyle, and I'm ready to get back to work for you.
I, Kamala J.B. Harris, do solemnly swear.
Kamala swore an oath, but Kamala created crisis after crisis. Our troops murdered, an open border, crime in our streets, skyrocketing costs, assassination attempts, Americans abandoned during disasters, and we're on the brink of World War III. A broken oath and a broken America. Kamala can't be trusted in the Oval Office. Vote for President Trump and save America. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we're the cold weather experts, offering unbeatable deals on the gear and supplies you need to get ready for winter. Like 30% off assorted zero exposure outerwear for the whole family. Rain-X wiper blades are on sale. Buy one, get one half price. Plus, check out unbeatable toy deals in Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Toyland, now open. Like $10 off this Max side-loading garbage truck toy, only $57.99.
Find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
Saventia Cheese has announced a recall of several soft ripened cheeses. The company says the products have the potential to be contaminated with listeria. So far, there have been no confirmed reports of illnesses linked to the recalled cheeses. The cheese was sold at Aldi and other stores. Consumers are advised to return the cheeses or toss them.
Well, it certainly has been a wet start to the month of November.
And it's been muggy. I hopped off the plane from Houston yesterday, and there's no differentiation.
Really?
Warm, rainy, muggy. Yeah.
Exactly the same. Okay. Well, let's see how long these wet conditions are going to last this week, Greg.
Yeah, we definitely had the muggy conditions. Actually, the temperature rose Sunday night, and you woke up this morning and we're already in the 60s with pretty good dew points this far north too. So it has that kind of muggy feel to it even for early November. But here's the one system that's pushing off to the northeast, so that was our rainfall. The next one is still to the south. We're going to have that push north into the area later tonight and tomorrow. That'll be the last one really in a series of waves that have come across our area. Then we have another system out to the west. That's a weekend storm eventually, but it's going to take a long time because it's going to dive south, sit there and spin, and then take its time before it eventually gets here for this weekend. So more to come on that. But in the meantime, we still got this system to come through. We still got a little bit of even drizzle, some areas of light rain, not a lot of rain to be expected probably over the next 4 to 5 hours, but still you can see some of that because since it's so humid outside right now. Rain really picks up late tonight, so it looks wet for Tuesday morning. It kind of turns more into showers, so there will be a dry break or two in the afternoon. A lot more for some areas. Breezy, the winds will start picking up as the winds begin to turn around to the northwest. And then Wednesday is dry, but we still got a lot of cloud cover to deal with. Temperature's pretty seasonable, so there'll be dry conditions, but still clouds. Overall, as I mentioned tonight, really just a little bit of pockets of some light rain, maybe some drizzle. Not expecting a lot of precipitation going on. Temperatures will continue to lowering, but not too much. We'll go back into the 50s overnight, maybe upper 40s. Then as you go past midnight, you're going to start seeing a little bit of increase in coverage of that. In Iowa, it'll begin to spread north. So by 4 a.m., we're starting to see maybe more of a line from Eau Claire down to Rochester. This area begins to form. Besides that, spotty showers. By the time you get to about 6 to 7, we're going to start seeing activity really pick up. So there could be a line of light to moderate rain across the area, more spotty showers. The trend overall looks to be north and west of La Crosse going tomorrow. It's going to see more of the steadier rain. It gets more spotty as you go further south and east. But by 8 a.m., we've got pretty much widespread light to moderate rainfall with pockets of a little bit heavier rainfall. They'll continue through about 9 to 10. Then areas south of La Crosse will probably start seeing a little bit of a break, a few showers. Areas north will continue to see this line begin to lift north and kind of become stationary. So Eau Claire further north and toward Rochester, it could be raining quite a long time for Tuesday. To the south in the afternoon, we're starting to see a little bit of dry air. So a few breaks, but still some showers and potential thunderstorms too as the system begins to lift now north and east. So by the time we start going home, this way it begins to rotate back to the east, continuing the rain up to the north. We'll start seeing a few showers, but that won't be widespread going throughout the evening for areas south La Crosse. So as you're voting out toward the afternoon, you'll still maybe need the umbrella, but it definitely won't be as widespread as the morning. And by 6 p.m. and 7 p.m., everything lifts off to the northeast, and we're really dealing with the winds and probably cloud cover. Precipitation amounts really is just kind of centered on where that line forms, 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Further south of La Crosse you go, lighter and lesser amounts and less rainfall, more cloudy in conditions going on. Wind speeds will be out there. I think you're going to see a little bit of speed down here with the winds out of the south early on, and then coming back around to the north, they're going to start gusting in the afternoon and evening. So that could be another thing you'll deal with voting is some gusty winds, 15 to 20 with some gusts higher than 30 out of the north. They'll continue there. Overall, as you look at the highs for tomorrow, we're not looking at too bad conditions, mid to upper 50s. And then Wednesday, cloudy conditions, dry, pretty seasonable. So that'll be not a bad day, but we won't see a lot of the sun quite yet. I think more of the sun comes on Thursday and then Friday with mid to upper 50s, still above average. And then the next rain chance comes Saturday and Sunday. Temperature still, kind of skipped ahead there into rain. Well, that was the main message for the weekend too, but so that system doesn't look as impressive as we had a series of these come through, but it still does look wet late Saturday going into Sunday.
All right, then prep the umbrellas indeed.
Yes, you'll need them tomorrow. Prepare for some wind, and then yeah, you'll need them later on in the weekend again.
All right, thanks very much, Greg. When we come back, Fireball is making whiskey out of tears.
More on Cryerball and upset sports fans right after the break.
Is it time for new windows or doors? Contact the company who has done the research for you. The best windows and doors installed by the best people. Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no?
there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah.
And the punishment is real. Women denied care, unable to get pregnant again, traumatized, scarred for life. Young women who didn't need to die. Now 1 in 3 women live under a Trump abortion ban. And if he's elected, everyone will.
There has to be some form of punishment.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
This illegal immigrant was recently arrested in southwestern Wisconsin for a sexually violent attack on a woman, a suspected Venezuelan gang member who entered the U.S. just last year. Unfortunately, Steve Doyle supports sanctuary cities that protect criminals like this, and Doyle opposed sending resources to secure the border to keep dangerous criminals like Alejandro Jose Coronel Zarate away from our families. Steve Doyle's failures are destroying Wisconsin lives. Steve Doyle, unwilling to secure the border, unfit to serve.
Remember when Hillary Clinton called you a deplorable?
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Well, Tammy Baldwin hates you too.
Donald Trump might be one of the most offensive and hateful and unacceptable presidential candidates we've ever had. So what does that say about the people who support him?
Tammy Baldwin is a liberal snob.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
We've had enough of this crap from Eric Hovde.
We're tired of his lies.
Hovde spent $100 million on his garbage attack ads.
Smearing Tammy Baldwin and trying to buy our Senate seat.
But we know Tammy Baldwin.
She's protected our jobs.
She's taken on the pharmaceutical companies.
And she's leading the fight to restore Roe v. Wade.
So Eric Hovde, take your lies back to California.
Wisconsin's not for sale.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Jody Emerson, what would you say you do here? We know you've collected over $250,000 from taxpayers while taking it easy. But where were you, Jody, when we needed help with rising costs? Where were you when our community needed funding to keep Lake Altoona clean? Where were you when radicals were trying to force our daughters to compete against boys in sports? You weren't there for us. So Jody, what would you say you do here?
Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run.
Thank you for watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
So this is a new one. Fireball is collecting the tears of disappointed football fans after their team loses, all for a new whiskey.
Yeah, it's called Cryerball. Official Fireball tear collectors will be posted outside of this season's biggest NFL and college rivalry games. As fans leave, they'll use eyedroppers and jars to collect the tears. The tears will then undergo a sterilization and distillation process before becoming Cryerball. Fireball says the limited edition whiskey will be ready for the next season.
See, I didn't buy this at all. Like, I thought that's just a clever marketing trick. But
yeah,
what if they actually try and make whiskey out of this?
It sounds like they're going to do it. I'm a Fireball fan, but I don't know about this one. Like,
yeah, this is a little out there. Huh?
And are there that many people crying after a football game? You'd have to like walk around with onions or something to get it revved up, right?
I mean, there's a ton of rivalry games out there, but even if they don't go your way, it's still a lot of tears that still need to be collected over the course of a season.
This will be interesting how this comes about. Like,
and how many tears does it take per bottle?
So many questions here.
So many questions.
So many questions.
We're going to get on the horn with the execs at Fireball and get you those answers.
Right on it. Okay. We'll have another look at tonight's forecast right after the break.
One of the things that I found very helpful was with the education that Tom provided me to help me understand the role that each unit played in helping to maintain good water quality.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She supported his disastrous economic agenda, higher taxes on the middle class. Kamala backed his open border policies, and their weakness invited wars. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower, and the border secure. But Kamala wants to double down on failure. Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm Rebecca Cook, and like most folks in Wisconsin, I'm somewhere in the middle.
Oh, please. Don't be fooled by Rebecca Cook. She made her living trying to elect Democrat extremists. Cook proudly supported radicals who want to defund police, end cash bail, and throw open the border. No wonder extremists like AOC are spending big bucks to elect liberals like Cook. Rebecca Cook, just another liberal trying to fool you. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm Steve from Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions. If you have trouble opening a window or keeping one in place, you may have frame damage, worn materials, or even hidden problems you can't see. You need a trusted window company to evaluate it, check for hidden issues, and possibly replace the window. Our team will complete our Weather Guardian 15-step installation process on every job to ensure your home and family are safe before we leave. Call now to get up to 20% off or 60 months interest-free financing. Choose Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions or something less.
25 years as a police officer, I'm trained to spot a lie when I see one.
Take it from me, these ads against Rebecca Cook are false.
They're not worth the special interest dollars that are funding them.
Rebecca's one of us.
She comes from a family of first responders and veterans.
She's a strong supporter of more funding for law enforcement.
She'd never defund the police.
I'm Rebecca Cook, and I approve this message because I'll always put safety first.
And Derek Van Orden just puts himself first.
Washington is corrupt. Senator Baldwin says she fights against Wall Street, and yet she lives with a Wall Street executive and gets all this money from Wall Street. She says she's standing up to Big Pharma and Big Tech, but look at the money she rakes in from Big Pharma, Big Tech, and their executives. Senator Baldwin doesn't work for you, she works for them. I'm Eric Hovde, I approve this message. I'm not taking their special interest money, I'll only work for you.
One of the things that I found very helpful was with the education that Tom provided me to help me understand the role that each unit played in helping to maintain good water quality.
All right, a wet election day, probably breezy in the afternoon, but then dry weather finally does return on Wednesday for us.
All right, thanks for joining us at 5.
We'll see you at 6.